There's an interview somewhere with Quentin Tarantino where he's asked what movie he's working on next, and it's after Inglourious Basterds, and he says he's working on a prequel to Inglourious Basterds about black soldiers behind enemy lines during the Civil War. I believe that's what he said. And I don't remember how far along he was, but that was the project that he was working on. What that eventually became was Django Unchained, which can't be seen as a prequel to Inglourious Basterds in any way other than the fact that if it were a true story, it would historically take place before Inglourious Basterds. But by that same measure, Amistad is a prequel to Jaws. It's not really a prequel, other than it shares a certain Quentin Tarantino-esque sentiment about revenge. So I think that's super interesting. Quentin Tarantino gets all excited about a movie he's making, wants to make another movie in that universe, and then what ends up coming out is totally different. It has nothing to do with it whatsoever. What's interesting to me is that's not the first time he's done that. Back in the 90s, he was supposed to make a Vega Brothers movie, which would have been a prequel to both Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. He was going to make a movie about Patricia Arquette's character from True Romance. He was going to make a movie with, what's her name? Jackie Brown lady. God, her name escapes me now. She was actually going to be in Pulp Fiction. Then he said, no, I'm going to write another movie for you that didn't materialize for almost a decade. Chow Yun-Fat moved to Hollywood in part to make a Quentin Tarantino movie that never happened. In addition to all that stuff, there's the fact that there's supposed to be 3 more Kill Bill movies. And what's the other one? There's one more that escapes me. Oh, when he did Jackie Brown, he said it was the first of 3 Elmore Leonard adaptations that he was doing. None of that stuff materialized. That's not, or I'm going to go into Quentin Tarantino's brain and assume I know how he thinks. That stuff didn't materialize because Quentin Tarantino is lazy, or because he can't commit to something or can't follow through. I think it's because he has a really intense honor about the idea of creative process and following it where it needs to go and trusting your instincts. It seems very likely to me that he got a certain way into this Inglourious Basterds prequel and realized he was just making the same movie. And this is a dude who's had a career built on the idea of not repeating himself. So, again and again, that appears to happen. You know, and I'm interpreting the actions of another person. I've never read a Quentin Tarantino interview that addressed the Phantom sequels that he does not produce. But it stands to reason that, considering how unbelievably productive he is, and the fact that he goes into the press, that at one point when it's just an abstraction, he is going to do those things. But once pencil hits paper, he starts to really think this through and starts to realize, like, I don't feel like telling the same story twice. I don't feel like dealing with these characters again. I want to make new characters. I want to make new things. And he trusts his instinct. And it's probably why there's really no such thing as a Quentin Tarantino flop. Nothing falls short again and again. And I think it's this intense respect for process and instinct. It's 15 degrees out. My fingers are freezing. So that's it for today. Thanks.